So we can create an ordered list or an unordered list. So an ordered list would be numbered and unordered would be a bulleted list. You can see the options in the Properties panel with the unordered list and then the ordered list down here below. So at the very bottom of the page, I'm going to move my Properties pane up here under Resources. We have one item in a list, in an ordered list. So we're going to add to that list. So place your cursor in that number 1 item under Resources and then click the Ordered List button. And now it's added another one because now it's numbering this paragraph. So if we hit a return and we can type in some more information and it will assign it with the number 2. So we can go ahead and just delete the extra number and type in HTML, entities, and other resources at W3 schools. So if you select that text and hit the ordered list button, in the first bulleted or the first numbered item, select the URL for a list apart, and we're going to cut it by doing a Command X or Edit Cut. Then delete the brackets. Select the text for a list apart. So rather than writing out the URL, we're just going to link it to this text. So in our Properties panel, we can paste in the URL for alistapart.com, and now it's hyperlinked. Add a space after the period. So this would be an absolute link because it's linking outside of this website. So it's going to link it to another website, another URL. Then in the second item, we're going to link the W3 schools text. So select that text and then type in, so when you're linking a URL, you have to type in the HTTP : // then the name of the website. And now that website URL is linked to the text. Now we want to create an unordered list for our navigation menu. So I'm going to hit return and hit return again to get rid of the ordered list. And then I'm going to type in my unordered list. So I'm going to click on my unordered list button. Now we see the bullet point and type in ATC home, return, excerpts, projects, and portfolios. So this is going to be my navigation menu. So I'm going to have 4 web pages. I have my home page, my excerpts, which I spelled wrong, my excerpts page, projects, and portfolios. So I'm going to highlight ATC home, and under my link, I'm just going to type in the number or hashtag symbol, and that's because these are going to be relative links. So I'm just going to link this to my home page within this same website. Same thing with all the rest of the navigation menu. So once I add that link tag, then you can see in my code view that it adds the ahref link tag, which shows that it is going to link it to another web page. But I haven't created those web pages yet, so I'm going to just add it as a link for now, as a hyperlink. And so it shows up with the hyperlink style. I want to go back later though and replace that symbol with the actual URL that has the HTTP followed by the rest of the URL. So you want to place that complete URL in there, or if it's a relative link, I can use my Files panel and then just point it to that HTML page and then replace it with the symbol. So this is just kind of an anchor for now. It's like a placeholder so that I know it's going to be a hyperlink, and I'm going to go back and actually link it later. So these links will not take me anywhere right now. It's just a placeholder. So don't forget to go back, if you do that, to go back and replace it with the actual link by typing in the name of the page. So for example, if I'm going to link this to my index page, I would actually type in index.html and just delete that symbol in front of it. And so then in the code, you'll see that the ahref tag is now pointing to or linked to the index.html page. So that's what you did in the rentals assignment when you linked to the pages within that site. Then you would have properties.html or contact.html, whichever page you were linking to in the navigation. And then you want to make sure that every page on your site, that the navigation menu is linked on every page across the site. So we're going to go on now and finish up in stage 5, where we're going to actually now add our CSS file to add some styles to this web page. I'm going to move up, scroll up now, and go up to my first paragraph and select from my heading down to the Ogilvy on advertising. Then I'm going to use my insert panel. I'm in HTML and I want to select the header tag. So select header. I want to wrap around this selection, so whatever I have selected, I'm going to wrap the header around there. I'm not going to assign a class or ID a selector at this point. Just click on OK. And now you can see in the code that it's added the header tags around the H1 and that paragraph after H1. And now I move my properties panel so I can see all the way down there. So in the next paragraph, quotes and related characters, scroll all the way down, but don't select your navigation unordered list items. So right after your resources, so all of that is highlighted. Now I want to select a tag to wrap around that selection. So in my insert panel again in HTML, now I want to select the section tag. I want to wrap around selection. I'm going to click on OK. So now I've added the section tag from that first H2 element all the way down to my resources ordered list items. And there's the closing tag for the section, for that section. So this is really important because once I add my CSS style sheet, any style that has been attributed to my section tags, it will apply that style to that section and to the header. So now I want to add a tag for my navigation menu, so I'm going to select my unordered list, go to my insert panel, and now I want to select my navigation button and wrap around that selection and click OK. So now I've selected where my navigation tags are going to be. The last thing I want to do is add my footer tag. So after my unordered list, I want to type in my footer text. So I'm going to type in against the clock, and I'm just going to type it in right in the code view right now. Against the clock. I'm going to add the pipe and a phone number and an email address. Oops, and I put that in my navigation tag, so I'm going to delete that or cut that and make sure that it's not in my navigation tag. So I'm going to move it so that it's after the navigation tag, but within the body tag still. So you can see that in the code view. So now in the Dreamweaver design view, you can see the footer is outside of my navigation tag section, or navigation container. And now I'm going to highlight the footer text and select under my HTML insert panel, footer, wrap around the selection, click OK, and now I've selected my footer container tags. Now I can switch to live view, and you can see in live view that there's still no styles added to this page. So I need to add my CSS style sheet. So I'm going to go back to my Files panel, and you can see that in my root folder there is a styles.css file. Now I'm going to go to CSS Designer and select All, and now I can add my CSS source. So if I click on Add, I can attach an existing CSS style. So select Browse and go to your root folder and select that styles.css sheet. Click on Open and add it as a link. Click on OK, and then you'll see some styles now added to your page. We still want to add a tag selector here. After you applied your CSS file, click to select the quotes and characters and related characters subheading. That whole section now is highlighted in code view. So remember, we added the section tag there. Now we want to add an ID selector. So using the Properties panel, open the ID menu and select Excerpt. So this is, if you go to your CSS Designer panel, you can see that there are different selectors that have been added onto the CSS style sheet. So this Excerpt ID selector, if you select that and click on Show Set, it will show you the formatting for this selector. So everything that has been given the Excerpt tag, the ID selector, will be set to this width, and we'll have this padding around it. So there's specific formatting that has been added using the Properties panel here within CSS Designer. So we'll learn how to add properties and add selectors later. But for now, it's already been done for you by Against the Clock, and so we just need to assign this section by giving it the ID selector assignment Excerpt. And then that formatting has already been done. So if you switch from design to live view, you can get a more accurate view of what the site will look like. So this is what your page should look like once you've applied the CSS style sheet and you've added that Excerpt tag, selected the Excerpt ID selector to the section tag. So make sure you do that, otherwise your type won't be readable because that adds this white background. So it's a 750 pixel width frame with, if you select the background color, it has been set to white. If you don't select the Excerpt ID selector, you won't be able to read the text over a white background. It'll just be that red background showing behind it. Now you've completed this web page and you can go ahead and export it. So if you go to your Manage Sites dialog menu, now you can export this as an STE site. So if you wanted to export this site, you would click on the Export button and then export it as a new site name. Save it in your root folder. Then once you've saved it, you can export the site from Dreamweaver, but then you can go back and import it again.